Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by your local Ford store and Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games, and I am live in the Xfinity studio this afternoon, and I am joined today on the Xfinity mobile call-in line by former NHL video coach, star contributor here all across the All City Network, and the host of Inside the Coach's Room on YouTube. It is Steve Peters. What's going on today, Petey?
Oh, well, I guess, Bill, this is it. We're getting closer, and I always want to spend my summers productive, getting as much things done, around the house, and I didn't do that because rookie camp has started, and all the to-do list is still there, but I guess I've got 2 weeks to get it done now. But no, it's good. It's good. Things are good out here in Arizona.
No, it's I every off season, every summer, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna read these books.
Yep.
I'm gonna catch up on these shows. I'm gonna get these other things done. I did like a third of it, maybe. It's just the way it goes. When it's the off season, you just have this great inclination to do nothing.
Yeah,
And
it sneaks up on you. It sneaks up
yeah,
on you really quick. And now, like, Charlie's on the road. He's got a overnight stay. That budget at PHLY, by the way, if he's staying overnight. Did he get him a hotel or is it in his car? But the back-to-back games, and it just happens. And they just hit the ice yesterday. Like, dude, they were just on the ice yesterday. Now we're playing a game. Unbelievable how quickly this
that's
happens.
always like just thinking of, and I want to get into some of the coaching stuff and aspects of training camp with you, but
Sure.
we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. They report to rookie camp, do all the flyers, prospects, and young guys who are still, Calder eligible and all that stuff. They hit the ice for the first time with coaches yesterday, couple of hours. Now, tonight, they had a morning skate today, and now tonight they are going to play in a game against another team, and they'll do the same thing tomorrow. Like, how do these guys even know, like, okay, this is the forecheck we're doing. This is what we're doing in the neutral zone. Like, this is who
That is
goes when we say change. Like, how do they get this information to the players?
It goes beyond that, and first of all, you don't like it is such simplified hockey, and that's one of the things that frustrates coaches watching these games. And not saying they're not important, and not saying that they don't have some value, but to think of a system being put in place in less than 24 hours, it's ridiculous. There is no system play. Yeah, and I'm not making this up. The coaching staff right now is just lucky to know the players' names, and you can't implement a system. And one of the things to watch for tonight, and I'm not sure how they're doing the penalties. I've gone to rookie tournaments where they just have penalty shots for penalties, so teams are on power play and penalty kill. I would assume they'll have power play and penalty kill at this type of event, just so they can get highlights of some of their skilled players. But that's the areas where it's going to be the worst hockey. Is you think, oh, it's the power play, it's going to be great. All these high skilled guys with all this ice, man, they have no idea. They have no idea how to work with each other. So that part of the game is really lost, and you're not able to play a team game. And this isn't. We're going to talk about it, but this isn't about the scoreboard. And I know Phillies. I said Phillies. Philly fans are going to want to win. I mean, everybody wants to win the
Of
game,
course, yeah.
but it's clearly not about that. It's almost unfair to put these guys in a situation like this 24 hours in. So you just can't make it that much of an evaluation on their performance on one or two games.
Yeah, and we went last year because it was michkov mania. We did ticket
Sure.
giveaways. We went to both games, and it was, yeah, you were hoping to win the game, but the whole idea was, hey man, this is the first time we're getting to look at Matvei Michkov. First time we're getting to look at Jet Luchenko, Oliver Bonk, just a few dudes who you're looking forward to watching. That's really while you're there, and because it's the beginning of the season. It's the first time you're going to watch hockey since the end of last season. It would be nice to win, but when you talk about what these games actually are, it's an exhibition in every sense of the word.
And really, how many players, and you talk about what the Flyers are looking for their future, how many players realistically that are going to be on the ice tonight that are going to put on a Flyer sweater this season, or even the bigger picture? And this is part that people, and I differ. How many of these guys are ever gonna but wear the Philadelphia Flyers sweater in a real NHL game. Like, it's amazing if you go back through the rookie tournaments and the rookie games over the last decade and go, okay, well, this guy made it and that guy made it. These 10 didn't.
Yeah.
Like, it is such it gets built up so much hype, these rookie tournaments and rookie camps and development camps, but the number of players that just don't. It's just reality. It's everywhere. It's league wide, and you are hoping for that 1, 2, 3, 4 players that you see tonight that are going to be an integral role in what happens for the Flyers in their future. And that's probably the right number. It's probably 3, 4, 5, 5 at the most. You go, okay, these guys are going to be everyday Philadelphia Flyers, and they're going to contribute to what's happening here in the future because there's so many players that we might get excited about it today, and we might get excited about tomorrow. But come 10 days from now, we'll never hear from them again. I know that's hard, but it's reality.
No, and just thinking, because Charlie always likes to put everything in terms of percentages, and like that's his way of thinking. We talked about one of his articles yesterday, and it's, Alex Bump, who we know the team is really high on and we think has a great chance to make this team. Like, Charlie handicapped it at 45% to make it out of camp. Like, we expect him to play in the NHL this year, but we're talking under 50-50. And that is the guy with the absolute highest chance to make it out of camp. We think there is room for him on the team. We always overvalue our own guys.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of prospects, is like you get to hope on them, and then typically they don't work out. We have a whole generation of prospects from the Hextall rebuild that we can draw our memories on. Like, oh yeah, Provorov, he was a nice player. The rest of them didn't really work out. Like
But that's just reality, right? And you can go back through it, and it's not just a Flyer issue. You can go back to any team in the National Hockey League and look at their draft over the last 10 years and go, oh, and they might be playing. They might be playing in the NHL, but not for the team they were drafted by. And I think you're seeing that the same thing in Philadelphia. I mean, you've got guys on this, and I do agree. Bump's a good player, and he's a guy that's going to be competing to play in the NHL. He's going to play NHL games this year.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to play NHL games. Now, will he be on opening night roster? Well, a couple of things have to happen. And this is something you and I talked about before the show started. One of the things that I think gets overlooked, and it's not like you're trying to make your grade school or high school sports team where if I'm better than player B, I'm on, because it's just about who's better. It's not like that in professional sports. There are other factors involved in who makes a roster. Now, Bump may be great. He may have a great rookie camp and a great training camp. But there's 12 forwards on this Flyer roster that have one-way contracts. The only one that doesn't is Michkov, dude, not going anywhere.
Yeah,
everybody else is on a one-way contract, and most of those guys, they're nobody that's waiver exempt. So unless they're willing to lose a guy potentially for free, you might not see some of these players, and that plays into it. Money's a part of this. Money's a part of sports, and contracts make a difference. And the guys that are most likely to be sent down are the guys that have the ability to do so through waivers and on their contracts.
Yeah, and that's we saw last year. John Tortorella was willing to scratch Nick Delorier a lot. We'll see if they make him the 13th forward. New coaching staff just don't know what exactly to expect. Like Alex Bump in particular. During the offseason, we heard, oh, Tyson Forster, he's got this tricep injury. We don't know how serious. Maybe he won't be there to start the season. It was, oh, well, there's a wing spot that opened up. There's a wing spot in the top 9 that opened up. Okay. Now, he's kind of on track to start the year. He's progressing well. Well, there's one spot gone. So it's all kind of up in the air, but I do think there's going to be some fun camp battles. But as you mentioned, it's right on us now. Rookie camp, and next week will be regular training camp. Do you get the itch this time of year, Petey? Is it okay? Like, you feel like you should still be gearing up?
It's funny because it's probably the opposite. And I think but you're 20 working in the league, you're like, oh no, here we go. Because here's what happens. And when you start, and they're working hard right now, and the coaches have been at it for a few weeks, meaning, I mean, they've been off and on all summer, but the last few weeks have really started to hone in on what their preparation is for training camp. But once you start, and they've already started, but once you start, you don't stop. You work around the clock. We used to say, if you're awake, you're working. And then you might be at home with your family, but you're still thinking, gosh, what do we have to do for practice tomorrow? What are we going to do against this Pittsburgh power play that we have to play tomorrow? Like, it's just nonstop. And that's until you go to bed and you get up early and you do it again. It's 7, 8, depending on how far you go in the playoffs, months of literally nonstop. And so when the season ends and you're going 100 miles an hour every single day, and all of a sudden you got nothing, like literally nothing, it's a 2-week cycle of getting out of that rhythm. And then the same thing at the other end. And when training camp starts, yes, you want to get competing, but right now, everybody in that Flyer locker room, everybody from the coaches to the trainers to the players, they are looking forward to game one. They're not looking forward for the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks is miserable, but for almost everyone, especially the equipment guys, feel terrible for them. But this is hard. This is hard physically. It's hard mentally. You're at it every day. The days are full. This is hard. Game one is where the fun part starts. When you can get to game one and you get in your daily routine, game day, practice day, here's a morning skate, you get into that routine, things just take care of themselves. So this next 2 to 3 weeks, it's chaos. You have to, things change every single day. Who's available, who's not available. When am I practicing? Well, we don't know because player A or player B, it's a mess. And it's highly chaotic for the next few weeks. So it takes this time for everybody, including Bill, Charlie, you guys, getting back into that rhythm of, hey, we got to do this every day. And so this is an exciting time because there's 32 teams right now that think they have a chance. And not maybe to win a cup, but there's 32 teams that think they have a chance to be better and make the playoffs. And that's the fun part right now is you're gearing up to be, hey, we can surprise some people. We're going to be better than people think. And so that's where you get that juice of, hey, we're getting ready to compete again.
I wish, like, thinking of that idea of the 32 teams that all at least think, we're the underdogs, but we have a chance. I would love like a mashup of all the coach speeches, like day one.
Oh.
Like, we're gonna surprise people. Like, it's gonna be a little bit different in Florida. It's gonna be a little bit different in Edmonton. But I would love to hear all of the, the teams that drafted in the top 10, a mashup of all the coaches, and wondering, could we just kind of trade one for the other? And it's basically the same thing. But it is an exciting time of year as well, because legitimately, like, every year in hockey, there's a team you don't expect. There's a team that you think is good that isn't. So there are those things that happen. And right now, everyone thinks they can be one of them.
And everybody thinks they're going to be better. And believe me, you look for those things that change. And I was always one that said, okay, are we going to be better than we were a season ago? What makes us think that? Did we get a better player? Did our good players from last year, are they ready to take a next step and move forward and be better? And I think the Flyers have some of that. I think you're looking at michkov and go, okay, he can be better. Can some of our leadership guys, can they play a bigger role? Can some of our younger players be ready to step up and be a bigger role? But the biggest thing in Philadelphia for me that gives you hope that things are different is the way they've changed the coaching staff. And now you've got a different approach to everything, literally everything. The way you practice, the way you do morning skates, the way you travel and eat, and everything has changed under a new coach. So that when you talk about, do we have hope? Well, yeah, because we've changed something. We're not doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping it fixes itself. We've changed something. And believe me, Rick Tocchet is going to be a different voice than what the Flyers and the Flyers players have heard for years. And I do think that's one of the biggest reasons you go, okay, there's going to be some changes, and we do have hope of being better. Now, before we go on, though, Bill, that temper everything. Like, that does help. But this team still, there's some strides, and there's some things they're going to have to go through to get to be one of those teams that is a perennial playoff team. And I'm not quite sure that they've gone through that yet. It's close. This team's getting closer.
And Keith Jones and Dan Hilferty met with the media 2 days ago to we wondered what the point of this was going to be, because eventually the media would ask to speak with them, and the Flyers set this up like, hey, we're doing this press conference, come on out. And it was very clearly like setting the evaluation standard of, we expect to be better, but the goal isn't just like, yeah, we're going all in to make the freaking playoffs this year, because the goal is to get back to making it 10 times in a row like they used to.
Right.
And you can't shortchange yourself for the short term, because that will, in the long term, lead to right back where we are right now.
And that's what's frustrating for teams, Bill. It's hard to stay with that.
Yes.
And it's hard to do that when one of three things changes, whether ownership, management, or coaching staff changes, that timeline can get shifted. And that's where things fall off the rails, is where now the expectations are different. And one thing, and I talked it over the summer, I do believe that the management and the coaching staff are aligned in expectations. I really do. Now, that doesn't mean they won't be competing every single day, but I don't think Rick Tocchet's going to be judged on, hey, this team has to make the playoffs or you're in trouble. I don't think that's the expectations for year one. Now, by year 2 and year 3, yeah, things are going to be different. But I think that's one of the things. Rick Tocchet's there for a long time. He signed a long-term deal. The expectations are he is going to be there when this team is ready for that. So I do think that that's an important distinction, that the management and the coaching staff are on the same page. And they believe that, hey, we need to be better. We need to show strides that we're getting better. Our power play, and there's some things that you need to make sure we need to defend better. Can we check those little boxes on our way to being a 9, 10, 11, 12 year in a row playoff team? And I think that's what's most important for the Flyers right now.
Yeah, and that was the other part, like when they made sure to be like, well, it's not necessarily playoffs equals success, no playoffs equals failure. Because if you say that basically before day one, you just hired the coach. What kind of position does that put him in when in January, if you're 14 points out, like, so is he not? Are we gonna fire a coach after a 2/3 of a season? Like it was interesting. We were wondering, okay, so what's the point of this? And then they kind of laid it out, and it made a ton of sense. A couple of things I want to get to. We did get some updates from camp today, from rookie camp, the morning skate before everybody left for Allentown. The first tweet we got from Charlie was no Oliver Bonk on the ice this morning in Voorhees for morning skate, and obviously no Luchenko. We knew he was out for all of rookie camp. He says everyone else is out there working on getting an update, and the update came, and it was, well, a maintenance day. Yes, Snowden says Bonk is having a maintenance day today. He won't play tonight, but the expectation is he'll play on Saturday. And honestly, I think that's cool because we're going to be there Saturday. And most of the higher profile prospects appear to be playing tonight, and they tend to switch it up. And then you go, okay, well, the second game, it's a bunch of guys who are going back to the USHL. Like these guys are far away. So at least we'll get a look at one of the first round picks tomorrow in Oliver Bonk. They've been taking it easy with him and Denver Barkey because they played through the Memorial Cup. They had some bumps and bruises and stuff. So that is our little bit of a health update from rookie camp today. And now I got to tell you about the Boys and Girls Club of America. I did it again. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. I have it written right in front of me and keep saying it wrong. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. It is Big Brothers, Big Sisters month here all across all city. We are still looking for your donations. You can donate in that little box right below the chat on YouTube. But as much as Big Brothers, Big Sisters need your money, they need your time as well. Go to bbbs.org. Look into what it takes to be a mentor, to be a big brother or big sister. They have a one-to-one mentorship program. They're trying to influence positive outcomes for the youth of tomorrow. And honestly, I can't think of a better way to spend your free time. So if you have the time and inclination to be a mentor, think you could bring someone something to someone's life in that capacity, bbbs.org. Check it out or make the donation below. We'll accept either. All right. So, Petey, I've got a highlight I want you to check out because you have been critical of our guy Trevor Zegras recently, and oh boy, he made a play at a captain's skate. So we got to pump it up.
Here we go.
We see him along the boards make a little bit of a defensive play that sets up a scoring chance for the Flyers. There, as you see Zegras, so he's forechecking. He steals the puck with a stick lift off of
what
a
defenseman.
What a
sauce pass.
Yeah, nice sauce pass across ice. And listen, I think those are the types of plays when guys like him realize that they can use their skill for more than just dangling is when they've started to at least put some stuff together.
I will say this for those in Philadelphia and Order the Rings, like a play like that. No, in all kidding aside, there's no checking and they're floating around. However, you still want to see your good players make good plays. And I'm telling you, if any of the management is up there, Keith Jones is up in the rafters watching that, guarantee you hit the scout next to him. Go, did you see that? You see that? I knew it. I knew it. I guarantee that's what the managers and the scouts are talking about. Hey, this kid's got more to prove than anybody else in this roster this year. I really believe that. I think
Yeah.
he has to start. He's got to turn the page and start his career, almost start over again from the face of the National Hockey League his first year in ads and video games and all of those things and the Michigans and all those things, and then he fell off with injuries and his numbers weren't there. This is a chance for him to grow up, to mature, to be the high skilled player that can put pucks, put points on the board for the Flyers. He needs to start that now. And all kidding aside, the only way he's going to be successful in Philadelphia is if he plays with that high skill mentality. That's who he is. Now, if you can combine that high skill and those type of plays, like a great forecheck sauce pass, and combine that with a hard work ethic that he's going to be demanded to maintain, wearing that Flyers jersey under Rick Tocchet, he is going to have to play hard. Because if he doesn't, he's going to run into the same thing he did with Tortorella. Like you're going to have to play hard under Rick Tocchet. So this is an opportunity for him. And yeah, I love to see this kid just blow up out in Philadelphia. I love it. And I think, he went through some tough times there in Anaheim, and not just on the ice, but I think he's a tough guy to play with. And this could be an emergence of him, and hopefully we see a lot of this from him this season.
I've always said guys with the skill of Trevor Zegras, once they realize, oh, my ability to do everything with the puck, that translates to I can win battles too. I can use my skill to win actual battles along the boards and make plays, checking. Once you put that together, that's when you'll actually be trusted. Now, this is like, yes, they're floating around. It's a captain's practice, but it's the type of thing he needs to do. He needs to be more than just like a top of the circles in kind of guy. He needs to be able to make plays like that a little bit more regularly. And it was encouraging, I guess. I don't know. I just thought it was funny more than
No, it's
anything.
fun, and this goes back to one of your earlier points, Bill. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen a guy hit the ice for months now. Anything, just grab onto anything we can get. Like I couldn't agree more, because that's what they're doing, and it's not just us. I guarantee it, because I sat in rookie tournaments next to scouts. That's what I did. Coaching staff, because they knew the players better than the coaching staff did, because they've watched their development. And so you sit by the development and the scouts, and those guys, man, it is there. No one's going to have more fun at these rookie games tonight and tomorrow than the scouts, because that's their guy.
It's their time to shine. They finally get to show you. Like, I told you that 4th round pick was a good value.
Exactly.
This
I'm wearing my logos on everything, and here I am. Look how good he was. Oh, it's so funny, and it's true. And honestly, that's their Super Bowl is right now, to see how these kids are developing and pushing the rock up the hill. And this is a big weekend for the scouts and managers. Not as much for the coaches, but it is for the scouts and the managers.
All right, Petey, we have to take a quick break to fit in some commercials. So we all have that one friend. They want to make their place the place to be every Sunday for football, for all of Red October coming up, for the drop of the puck, for the tip of the ball, with basketball and hockey starting real soon. They have the bar set up. They always make the best food. They are ready to go. But if they don't have Xfinity, well, you feel like maybe you've been fan fished, because if you call yourself a sports fan at all, you got to have Xfinity. It is the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way I watch is next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right in my living room. Plus, Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K is so clear, it feels like I'm in the arena. Sometimes I've even got the 4 games going at once, because why not use the quad box? It's there. Use it. On top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right on my television. It's the best seat in the house every single time. So next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV. And while we're here, it's time to tell you about the Ford F-Series, the legendary Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks in America for 48 straight years. That's right. Last time Ford wasn't the best-selling truck, the Flyers were defending champions. The F-150 blends work-ready toughness with modern-day tech and luxury. It's available in 6 powertrain options, including a hybrid and a fully electric Lightning model. It's got best-in-class towing up to 14,000 pounds, and it's made of military-grade aluminum alloy body. It's got tough, lightweight, and corrosion-free resistance. Its advanced Sync 4 system with cloud-based voice recognition and over-the-air updates that keeps your car on top of its technology game. And those max recline seats offer nearly 180 degrees of recline. You know, you're on the job site, want to catch a couple Z's during your break? Why not jump in your Ford and do it? And it's available in so many different cab options with regular, super cab, and super crew, plus bed lengths to fit your needs. For more information, visit your local Ford store. We have lost Petey. Petey has been taken from us. I am sure he will be rejoining us. He will be rejoining us shortly on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. Until then, I have a couple of other things I want to get to, and I think the most pressing of which is the Kirill Kaprizov situation, because, man, with the reports we're hearing right now, I don't know how much I actually am interested in this, in pursuing Kirill Kaprizov currently. Now, we got the mixed reports yesterday. At first, it was, oh yeah, Minnesota has already asked Kaprizov for a trade list. He turned down the 8 years, $16 million average annual value contract, and so once that happens, like, hey, we're going to make you the highest paid player ever, and he goes no, Minnesota must obviously think, okay, he doesn't want to play here. We got to try to trade him. Then it was, okay, maybe these reports are a little premature. We're not sure. Cam Robinson said he thinks, according to a source, that the trade list request hasn't actually happened yet. So we'll see about that. But the idea of trading for Kirill Kaprizov is obviously very exciting. Have another Russian superstar to pair alongside Matvei Michkov. That's a really, really fun idea. But Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts reports when he sees, Kaprizov turned down 8 years, 16 mil. He must obviously think 7 years at 19 or 20 million is out there for him. If that is the case, man, the idea of trading for someone and then giving them $20 million on top of it, I don't know how you get that. I don't know how you can justify it. I don't know how you can build a team around a $20 million guy, especially a winger, when your team has no 1C or 1D. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Petey. So Kirill Kaprizov reportedly turned down 8 years, $16 million average annual value. That's $2 million more on the AAV than Leon Draisaitl currently gets, most ever, and the total value more than the contract Ovechkin signed before they made those super long-term deals illegal. Richest contract ever. He says no. When a player does that, the entire organization has to go like, oh, he doesn't want to be here, we have to trade him, right?
They're in trouble. Yeah, and I tell you what, Minnesota has been waiting for years to get rid of Parise and Suter's contracts. Been waiting for those monies finally drop off, and you go, okay, we're going to be able to get Kirill Kaprizov, some people to surround this great talent, and we're going to finally be able to dig out of this hole, and we're going to be perennial playoff teams and make a run for the cup. And then the best player, the guy that makes the difference in Minnesota, let's face it, he is the best player on the Minnesota Wild by a country mile. You can talk about Boldy and Marco Rossi. This kid is a star. And I think one of the reasons maybe he doesn't sign is he wants to be noticed as a star, and you need to play somewhere else. Unfortunately, Minnesota's not getting all those prime time games, the national games, the big attention games. They're not. It's Minnesota. Now, do I think that this is a concern? Absolutely, this is a concern. If you're sitting there going, I can give you security, I can give you money, and you're going to be with us forever, and you say no to reportedly the biggest contract in the history of the sport, yeah, that's a concern. It's a huge concern, and I don't know if they're going to be scratching their heads, but I tell you what, you're right. It's going to be hard to fit $20 million into your roster, but there's going to be teams lining up to get an opportunity to have this guy play. And who knows? Like where is it that he wants to go play then? Like where is it that he thinks he's going to be more successful or have a better opportunity? I don't know. I don't know if that's what's important to him. I don't know if it is about the winning. It's interesting when you talk about what their checklist of important things are. Man, like Artemi Panarin just wanted the hell out of Columbus. Like I don't want to play there anymore. So
that was Artemi Panarin said, I want to play for the Rangers. I don't
Yeah.
care if they're good or bad. They just announced
I want to be on Broadway.
rebuild. Guess what? I'm going there anyway.
Yep. And so you get worried. I don't know what the mindset is going to be of Billy Guerin and what goes on in Minnesota. And maybe this is all blown out of proportion that he's looking for a shorter bridge deal to see if they're going to be able to win. I don't know. But I do know if the Minnesota Wild lose Kirill Kaprizov, there is going to be a problem in Minnesota.
And that's my main question with Minnesota. Like, I can't imagine they want to start over, but somebody trading for Kirill Kaprizov, whether there is an extension in tow or not, that team is doing it because they want to win right now. If Minnesota doesn't want to start over, they're going to want roster players right now. I don't see a place that could possibly, whether they can afford them or not, give up the assets. Like, what team has that sort of assets? I don't even know if there is a match for a trade. You might end up losing this guy for nothing simply because how the hell do you make the trade work?
Yeah, I don't know. Are you going to end up with a Mikko Rantanen situation in that Colorado felt they couldn't sign him, and so we're gonna move him along and try to do the best we possibly can. If this is truly what happens in Minnesota, it's going to be a problem because you know as an opponent that they got to get rid of him. So that brings your value down. Like if they know it's a fire sale and you have to get rid of Kirill Kaprizov, that brings the asking price down. Now, the only way that changes if there is a bidding war. But to your point, who's ready to give up? Who's ready to give up their future chips, their first round picks over the last 2-3 seasons that are finally going to be an addition to their current roster? Who's ready to make those moves for a 28-year-old? Kirill's amazing. He's got years left in what he can provide. But are you going to give up on your 21, 22-year-old future? Probably not. And you're not going to get the return because you're not going to take your first line winger off your team to get Kaprizov. You're not going to do that. So I do. Billy Guerin's going to have to work some magic. And unfortunately, he's got to build a USA roster at the exact same time. So things are going to start off rocky in Minnesota. I don't know how you get around it early because that's going to be the narrative from day one of camp until they sort something out.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Just like how it's going to be handled. My initial thought was maybe he just doesn't want 8 years. Maybe he wants to give them kind of the way people are thinking about McDavid. Yeah, maybe he wants to give them 2 or 3 to see if they can show him that this is a contender before he signs away. You know, he'll be 29 when that contract kicks in. Before he signs away, essentially the rest of his career to one team. You know, maybe
that's insane. You're right, Bill. Like, what's your commitment to? Like they always say, oh, it's a hometown discount. Hey, dude, the only reason you get to live in that city, and that goes for McDavid too, is because of the way the ping pong balls fell.
Yeah,
it's not you send out your resume and go, gosh, I really want this job in Edmonton. I'm going to go for this job in Edmonton. No, dude, you had nothing to do with it. Ping pong balls, and they drafted you, and that's where you go. And so, at one time in your life, for these high-end players that are finally getting to free agency, they have one time in their life where they can go, I get to pick where I live. And it might be as simple as I want better weather. And I know that sounds terrible, but Connor McDavid's been in Edmonton for years. Like at some point, man, I like Kachuk said, I want to live in Florida. Well, yeah. How'd that work out? We're pretty darn good.
It's working pretty well.
I do think that this is an interesting thing that you're starting to see the shift in how much power players have versus 10, 15 years ago. And I think that the landscape is changing. And yeah, I'm going to free agency. Look, what are you going to do? And so I think those two players specifically this season, keep your eye on both. I know everybody, well, they'll get a deal and Donna McDavid, and he's going to be back and he wants to be an Oiler. Really? We'll see.
We'll see. We have one person who is a regular in our chat who is counting down the days until McDavid's free agency.
I know. So. He had it. What's the number?
Yeah, it's,
we've got to get it.
I
remember this last time I was on.
I think we might be in like the 320s or something.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. Could it be a flyer?
Yeah, we'll see if we can get an update. Now, from a GM standpoint, that's always like the front office, those guys, they're always looking at, okay, the personnel decisions, team building. But from a coach's standpoint, you're on a coaching staff and suddenly there's a guy you're counting on. It's like, yeah, one day we might just wake up and not be here. Is it we have to prepare as if he's going to be here until he's not? Like, how do you or a coaching staff handle, yeah, man, we have Kaprizov right now, but 2 days from now, we might not?
Yeah, it is much different the way Billy Guerin's running this, the way it is in the coaches' room. The coaches get up in the morning, and whatever 23 players you've given them to work with on their roster that day, that's who they're going to try to improve on and use to beat their next opponent. That's it. You can't, as a coaching staff, get carried away and that falls into what's going on with the rookie camp. That to say that Rick Tocchet and his staff are dialed in complete to rookie camp would be a fallacy. They're not. These guys aren't going to be the contributing factors that are there day one. Now, they might have one or two players. I'm not saying they won't have players. I'm saying this is what's important to a coaching staff right now. They're gearing up for game one. And so the same thing applies when you're looking at a player that could be injured, could be traded. You can't deal with that. That's Danny Briere's job. Keith Jones, that's their problem. And so you're going to have to just coach the players you got. And it's interesting when you see coaches get in that look around the room sometimes, and I've been there in Arizona. Trust me, when you look around the room and go, we got no chance. And I've how defeating that is to go into a game and you look around your roster and you're putting up the lineup on the board and you go, we don't have a chance tonight. And that's horrific because that's the players you have. But that's all you do. You still have to go coach that team and try to get a win and try to do the best you can. And I think that is when you look at what's going on in Philadelphia, you talk about how this management team is trying to build this from within and trying to build this culture with Tocchet. So I go back to, I'm excited to see how they work hand in glove to do those two things, to get the young prospects going. And maybe it's in Lehigh Valley. It might be. A lot of the names that were talked about in yesterday's rookie show, a lot of those guys are going to end up in Lehigh Valley. And maybe they improve there. Maybe they work together as a team there and become top-line players there so that they are ready to be a Flyer later. Instead of getting so excited that we got to get this guy now, we got to get this guy now. Maybe you don't. Maybe the best thing for the Flyers is that he spends some time down there in Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, it's been that's kind of been an issue with guys, highly touted prospects. They make their way in this organization to the Phantoms, and then suddenly there is just stagnation. Now, this happens all the time, but it felt like it was happening a lot. And now with the new coaching staff with the Phantoms, I'm really excited to see if that pattern changes a little. We're going to get a chance to talk to new Phantoms coach John Snowden tomorrow when we're over at the PPL Center. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But that is one of those things like, maybe we needed a little turnover here. Maybe the biggest difference we can make isn't personnel changes and going and getting somebody. It's, hey, a different perspective, both in the NHL and in the AHL. I do want to ask you a little about what coaching staffs are up to right now, Petey, because, yeah, they're not. Rookie camp is going on, and the Phantoms coaching staff and a lot of the player development guys are on the ice running that. But the NHL coaching staff, this is not their be-all, end-all. They are there because they're supposed to be, but they're working on, I assume, laying out training camp, scheduling it, the messaging. Right now, let's call it a week, 5 days before NHL training camp opens. What are you doing if you are on an NHL staff?
It's funny because you've nailed it. Like this rookie tournament thing, it actually gets in the way of preparation. And I know that sounds counterproductive, but it's true because they're more interested in watching the guys that are scrimmaging, like that highlights. They want to see that. They want to see what their players are doing. And even at the end of those scrimmages, I'm sure they're getting a little skate to work on their conditioning. But right now, and it's funny because I've got a unique perspective because I did do training camps with Rick Tocchet, several of them. And I tell you, weeks ago, he had plotted out the actual schedule. I mean, and when I say the schedule, it's who's on the ice, when on the ice. That framework started weeks ago. But then you start adjusting it almost every day. The day you print the training camp schedule is the day that you're going to change it. Like it's constant changing, whether it's players and personnel. Like you might be sitting there all season going, gosh, I really can't wait to see Trevor Zegras with Travis Konecny. Can't wait. Like this is it. Where I'm going to put them together, and they've been on the board together. And I don't know if this is the case with these two players specifically, but I'm going to put them together. These two guys, and they've been that way for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. They get on the first day of ice, and you go, geez, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. We got to start over. And the funny thing is, he's prepped out who's going to play in game one. They know. Like they'll tell Charlie, Yeah, our first preseason game against the Islanders coming up. We're trying to figure out a roster. They know, like, dude, I'm telling you right now, they've got this way Taka used to work. He put up all the preseason games up on the wall, and they'd have enough slots for 4 lines, 6 pairs of D, and 2 goalies. And right now, he's starting filling in names. And you want to be that veteran player that's not playing in game 1 or 2, especially when they're not in Philadelphia for a while. They're not playing a home game. You want to be holding out until that fourth game when you're playing at home. But there's openings because you got to see what rookies get called up or what guys hurt and all that. But the template from game 1 all the way to the end of preseason is built. Like those names are thrown in there. We got to make sure this is our roster on the last game of the season. We got to make sure this goalie is starting, these D are playing together, and this power play unit is starting together. And now it's up to you as a player that you're the 13th, 14th, 15th forward. Now it's up to you as a player to prove over the next 2 weeks that you can move those names on that roster, that you can displace someone else that's getting an opportunity to get looked at in a game, and you're going to have to do above and beyond to get that. So it is right now, it is about going through these schedules, and it's the little things about, okay, this group A is on the ice from here to here, and they have a meeting here. Well, am I on the ice? Can I still present the meeting? Or, oh no, they cross over. I'm on the ice. I can't give a meeting here. Those little details, you wouldn't believe how they go unnoticed until you get on the ice and you go, uh-oh, he's supposed to be showing a meeting in 5 minutes and they're still on the ice. So it is just getting back in that day-to-day routine, and chaos is the rule of the day in training camp. There's too many people. There's too much going on, too many moving parts. It's just survived the first 3 or 4 days, and that's when you'll start to see the numbers diminish. Guys going back to junior, and then you can get more workable numbers. But right now, their focus is away from the guys in rookie camp, other than they're going to watch and say nice things. But they're thinking of first days of practice, and they've gone through it in their head. They've gone through it on the board. They do it again. They'll do it again tomorrow. They'll say, "Do we have every drill we want to have right?" And it is minutia, but you have to get it right because this is the most important time for a team like the Flyers, especially over the first 10 games. That's going to be cemented in what they do over the first 2.5 weeks of training camp. So it's really important.
Yeah, I'm interested just because it's a new coach. And we saw Tortorella, the way he did things in the preseason. It was mostly home games, the vets play, away games. It's the Phantoms and whatever the minimum number of vets I have to have out there is to fill out the roster. But you do bring up an interesting point. First 3 preseason games, and for the first 5, all on the road. Can you do that? Like, can you just be like, yeah, but Travis Konechny just doesn't need to play in the preseason? Like, maybe, but he's going to want to get out there a little bit, I assume. So we will.
It's funny, but they'll build the difference between what the players think and what the coaches think, because the players will tell you, and I could go back to an old time Coyote, Shane Doan. Dude didn't want to play in the preseason games, at least the first 5. That's back when we played 10. He didn't want to play till 7, 8, or 9. He took him that long to get going. Well, the coaches don't agree with that. And if you see a veteran, a big name veteran going on that first game, it's usually a guy that's either was late to a meeting or hasn't quite put in the work, or is, I know they're not doing the off-ice testing anymore, but the guys that didn't quite fulfill their off-ice training obligations and didn't look in shape, those are the guys that are going to go, okay, you're not ready to play? You're going to play in 6 out of 7 and you're going on the road tomorrow. Like, I know that's part of the mentality, but you are absolutely right. You're a veteran guy and you've earned what you think has earned the right to stay at home. A new coach can shuffle that up in a hurry. So you're right. I think some guys are going to be surprised that they'll be hitting the road over the first 4 games.
September 21st, Sunday, September 21st at the Islanders is the first preseason game. Making a vet miss Sunday football and go play the Isles in Long Island. That is, I can only imagine a punishment, if nothing else. All right, we have to pause for another commercial break, and then we will come back and wrap the show. 2 years. It is our 2-year anniversary, and Bryn, I'll get it eventually. Like, just pause because there's going to be a break. Anyway, I got to tell you about our friends at Ace Hardware and what our friends at Ace Hardware bring, because at Ace Hardware Home Services, whenever they get ready for the next job, they remember what to bring. They bring experience. They're local plumbers and techs that handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to installations and upgrades. They bring understanding. They listen to your goals, and the job isn't completed until you're satisfied. And they bring helpful. They bring helpful to your home so you can spend more of your time on the projects that really matter. Free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for your home and budget are always available, and they provide service you can trust and satisfaction is guaranteed. Ace Hardware Home Services are also local. Their teams live and serve in your community, and they're dedicated to keeping their neighbors comfortable in their homes. So you got to visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. While we're here, got to tell you about our friends at TrueMark Financial. Because listen up, sports fans, September's here, football's back, hockey's right around the corner, school is in, and it's the perfect time to get your finances back in shape too. I've been checking in on my credit score lately, and I got to tell you, if you're a member of TrueMark Financial Credit Union, you've already got a serious edge. They've got this free tool called Savvy Money right inside their online banking and mobile app. I use it myself, and seriously, it's like having your own financial coach in your pocket. You can check your credit score anytime without taking a hit, get tips on how to improve it, and even get alerts if anything changes. That's what I call playing smart defense with your money. If you're already on Team TrueMark, fire up that app and check out Savvy Money today. If you're not a member yet, what are you waiting for? Step up your financial game, swing by one of their 24 branches, or visit TrueMark.com/PHLY to open an account. TrueMark Financial Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. All right, Petey, I'm glad we did not lose you this time. This is, I believe, the last time we will have you before the season starts. So I'm going to get some predictions in. But before we do that, I just remembered I wanted to do something else. The preseason is, for the most part, a huge waste of time. But did you see what the Penguins have done? They have signed Marc-Andre Fleury to a PTO, and he will actually play in some exhibition games for them. Of all the ways that like you could waste time in the preseason, at least get some fan service in there. I love this. I think every team should do this.
Phenomenal. I think it's fantastic. I was surprised. I don't know if you saw his picture from when he signed the contract. Phenomenal with all the cups around it. You know what? The only thing is he's probably taken the chance for some up and coming goaltender to miss a period, and that's really what's going to happen here. And for what Marc-Andre Fleury's put into that organization, what he has done for the Pittsburgh Penguins, dude, least they could do. Like I think it's a neat move. And I remember being in Arizona. We'd go play a game in Wichita. We had a guy. We played a game in I believe it was Wichita, Kansas, and they had some level of minor league hockey there. And it wasn't the American League, the East Coast, it was below that. And one of their players suited up for warm-ups with the Coyotes. You're like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And that's what preseason is about. It's making the doing things right. So I think it's a cool thing. Cool.
No, and it's the Flyers and the Caps are going to play a preseason game in Hershey later this month. Like, that's a great use of the preseason. Why not go check out I've actually never been to the Giants Center. I want to check that out. Like, that's pretty cool. And listen, the park isn't closed yet. Go get some chocolate, go ride some coasters and see a game up there. That is a great use of the preseason. But all right, now let's get some predictions in, Petey, because I don't know if we're going to be able to have you on again before the season starts. Definitely going to be using you in the season though, for those post-game shows.
Yeah.
I want to kick it right off with your prediction for the Stanley Cup matchup and the winner of the Stanley Cup.
Can we just Brianna, can we just like edit this out and then give me the right answers, like put it back in like in March and go, oh my God, Petey was a genius? Because I'm gonna get this wrong. I don't know how you bet against the Florida Panthers. I don't know how you do it with the re-signing Ekblad and Bennett and doing all of those things, getting Marchand back. I think Carolina is better in the East. I think there are a lot of teams better in the East. I think Toronto's better in the East, but I have to go with the reigning two-time Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. They know how to do it. They know how to get through playoffs. They just are built different. Florida wins in the East. In the West, I think there's a handful, and I don't think it's the Oilers. Sorry, Oilers fans. With or McDavid, no. The Oilers aren't going to the Cup final 3 years in a row. They're not. There's too many other teams that can be there, and I think Dallas is part of it. I think Vegas is part of it, but I got the Colorado Avalanche facing off against the Florida Panthers in this year's Stanley Cup.
Ooh, that would just be some tremendous hockey. I would love to see that from a watching standpoint. But I am going with the because I'm a huge pro wrestling fan, I think everything is a work, Petey, and I think I want the best story. I'm
Yes.
going with Vegas, Toronto in the Cup final.
Oof.
The Maple
Marner.
Leafs finally get back. The Maple Leafs finally get back for the first
Wow.
time since 1967. The last time the Leafs were there, Stan Mikita won the Art Ross and Hart trophies. He wasn't just the guy who
Wow.
owns the donut shop. Bobby Orr was the Rookie of the Year. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band would not be released for another 3 weeks. That was the Leafs finally get back, but
Wow.
they run into Mitch Marner and the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Golden Knights take the cup.
That's the story.
That's
Bill,
the
you're
story.
right. That's the story. Mitch Marner and I'll go a step further. Marner gets the GWG in Game 7 in Toronto.
Yes.
And
Marner is a lock for me in my mind for the Conn Smythe.
For Conn Smythe, 100%.
This is 100% what is going to happen.
Well,
I can't wait to do this. Me, Charlie, and Kelly will do our season predictions, and all my thoughts will change. But there is one thing I am sure of. Vegas Leafs Cup final. That is without a doubt what is going to happen.
Lock it in. Lock it in. I like it, Bill. I like the confidence. It's aggressive, but I like the confidence. It's a great story. Can't wait. Let's see it unfold. Yeah. 82 games to go.
All right. So every year, as I said earlier, there's always a team that gets in or a team that has the surprise year, like the Columbus Blue Jackets. Didn't get in the playoffs, but that was a much better year than I think pretty much anyone expected. And they had the story along with it. A feel-good season for Columbus. But every season there is some team you go, was not expecting that out of them. Hell, it was the Flyers a couple of years ago where they missed the playoffs on the last day, and going in, it's like this is a bottom 5 team. If you had to choose, if you had to predict a surprise good team this year, what are you thinking?
It's hard because I've been waiting for some of these teams to be better for a very long time. And I think the Ottawa Senators were that team a year ago. I still think the Ottawa Senators are a very good team in the Eastern Conference. One I'd like to see do better is the Buffalo Sabres. And the only reason I say that is because it's tough to watch them be the worst team year after year after year. And now they've got a Doan on their team with Josh Doan. They had a big deal with Kesselring and Doan coming to the team. So the Arizona native Josh Doan is now a Buffalo Sabre. I'd like to see that team do better. I just don't think that they will. I'm concerned. I think the biggest team to make the biggest jump that teams are going to be surprised about is going to be the Anaheim Ducks. And for what we said about the Philadelphia Flyers and their addition of Rick Tocchet, I think the addition of Joel Quenneville is going to help this hockey club because they had a coach that made things difficult for them. And Greg Cronin was hard to play for. He was a disruptor. He was old school hockey, and I think some of the younger players on the team, including Trevor Zegras, had a hard time in Anaheim. I like that they added Mikael Granlund and Ville Husso got a veteran goaltender in there. Chris Kreider. They got some veteran guys that can really help this young core. That's going to be the surprising team in the Western Conference. And I'll just say I hope Buffalo's better, but I don't think they're going to be.
I just like those poor people. Now they have an excellent football team, but like they're a two-sport town, and the football team has been the perennial disappointment. Like lose 4 Super Bowls, missed the playoffs for 15 years. Now you're great, but you can't quite get over the hump. Meanwhile, the hockey team hasn't been to the playoffs since 2011. Like, wow. I just feel bad for their fans, quite honestly. I think they deserve a little bit of something. I think that is a good pick. But yeah, the Ducks, I can see it.
Who do you got,
Ducks.
Bill? Who do you got, Bill?
I think the Islanders could be in the mix this year, simply because I expect Ilya Sorokin to like not give up over 3 goals every night on an .890 save percentage for his first 25 games. First 25 games last year, Sorokin kind of stunk, and the whole team is built around him. I don't know if they're cup contenders. I just think they're not going to suck the way they did last year because they have an awesome goalie. They also, inject a little bit of youth into that lineup with Matthew Schaefer. Lou is gone, and I bet you that's just a more fun working environment for everybody.
Yep.
I'm expecting them to not be bottom 10 the way they were this past season.
But don't you think, Bill? And I think you're right. I think that's a really good pick. I worry about the loss of Noah Dobson and what that does to their blue line. That's a concern. Their ability to generate offense from their defense. But I think there's a lot of that in the Eastern Conference, and I think that's another reason that you can have hope as a Philadelphia Flyer fan. Is there's so many teams like that. You can throw the Devils in, you can throw the Rangers in, you can throw Columbus in there, and somebody's going to have to be in the playoffs. I think Washington went. I think they built their team, the rebuild, or if it's even a rebuild, because Ovechkin's still there. But last year they were better than they were expecting. Michael was better. Protas was better. Like they had a better season than was expected. That's a team that could fall off. Pittsburgh's still on the way down. The Eastern Conference could have some playoff spots open, and that's one of those things where you look at a Philadelphia Flyer team, if they can get the goaltending and if they can defend a little bit better. I think the goals will be there. But the Eastern Conference, to me, there's so many teams like that, like the Islanders, that are just, what are they? Have they found their identity yet? And whoever can come up with their identity first and be, here's who we are. Are we the big bad Philadelphia Flyers again? I think they might be. And I think, gosh, we have to play the Flyers tomorrow. We've got some size, some grit, and some skill. So I think it's the East is way more wide open than I think the West is. I think the West is pretty well set from where they were a year ago. I don't know who slides in or slides out, but it's very few. And I think the East has more opportunities to make the playoffs.
I do think the West is more set. That said, my surprise bad team, and by bad I mean like I don't think they're going to be second or third in the division. I think they can fall a little in the wild card. I'm going with the LA Kings falling off a little bit. They depend so much on vet. Like, how much longer can it be Kopitar and Doughty playing the minutes that they play? And I don't think they missed the playoffs, but I could definitely see them at least having a tough time getting started because you lose 4 straight years in the first round to the same team. There's got to just be on day one, like, all right, 82 of these. Okay. I could see them taking a step back this year.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. It's a team I really liked going into the playoffs last year. I had them beating the Edmonton Oilers, surprisingly enough. They just didn't utilize their bench well enough. They didn't match up well against McDavid. But then they went out and got players that you wish you had 5 years ago. They had Cody Ceci, Brian Dumoulin, Nick Leddy, and Corey Perry. Give them to me 5 years ago, not now. I don't know why they went older like that. I'm not sure. LA moves the puck quickly and they have quick feet. This is the opposite of that. It's a team, you're right, I thought was going in one direction, and now they've Gavrikov is gone, and you bring in Dumoulin and Ceci. It doesn't replace that guy. So, yeah, it's good. It's a team I thought was going to be better a season ago that I think is going to struggle. And you brought up something early in the show, the Minnesota Wild. That ship could get a little bit rocky early if the Kaprizov thing doesn't get sorted out.
If there's just a little, if there's a little bit of tension or adversity, what way does that go? We've already seen like the Marco Rossi situation. Nobody really knows what the hell the GM even thinks of what is essentially their like second best forward at this point, you know? And it's that I think Minnesota definitely fits in. All right. And finally, breakout star, a guy who we maybe been watching, but now this is the year for them. I am taking Maverick Bourque of the Dallas Stars.
Wow, good player. I'm going to say a guy that is probably not fair because people do know him and he's an all-star. I think it's going to be Clayton Keller in the Utah Hockey Club. I know he's a captain, and I know he gets some recognition. I think should have been on the Four Nations roster for Team USA. He's a guy that has improved every single season, set the Utah record for most points by that franchise. He's tied for the record in Arizona for the most points in that franchise. He's a guy that just flies under the radar, and I know he's a long-term player, but look for him to break out because this kid wants to play on the Olympic team, and look for Clayton Keller to be a guy that you're going to start noticing getting the points and making him a legit contender for that Olympic team.
That is one thing I am excited for in the first half of this season is watching certain players make their Olympic push. Guys who maybe are on the bubble, maybe didn't even get invited to the camp. What sort of season will it take for them to get that look, especially for US and Canada where it's, these rosters are kind of set. You're going to have to really break out in order to even be in consideration. But that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Oh, we have one super chat, and it's from JH, and he is letting you know, Petey, that we have 292 days until Connor McDavid is a free agent.
I'll write it down.
All
Thanks,
right.
Gage.
That now is actually all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, follow us right here on YouTube and hit that like button. Only 76 likes, not nearly enough. Make sure you're following us, subscribe, hit that reminder bell so you see us whenever we go live. Follow us on all the socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter, and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. Happy 2-year anniversary to everybody here at PHLY. Thank you very much, Petey, for joining us on this great Friday. And now all I have left to say is be excellent to each other and go Birds, baby.
We all silly like the mayor.